Well, the countdown to St. Andrews begins, but before we get there, you got the John Deere straight ahead this week with Lucas Glover returning to defend his title from the previous year. Hoping to become the first to do so since Steve Stricker did it a decade ago. Field loaded with some major champs, PGA Tour winners, and up-and-comers at TPC Deere Run, along with the Open Championship spots on the line this week. Taking a look, we'll have 3 available spots on the line. When it comes to this week's tournament, beyond that, 2 opportunities remaining on the schedule. July 7th, you see it there, the Scottish Open with 3 available spots, and the Barbasol Championship, just 1 spot up for grabs when it comes to the Open down the line. All right, how about we turn back the clock a little bit. In 2013, a 19-year-old Jordan Spieth in the same tournament from the bunker here on 18, his 3rd shot makes it look too easy, 1 bounce and in. Very excited. We're going to tap in the 2-foot par putt on Sunday on that 5th hole, that 3-man sudden death playoff win, getting the W there in 2013, becomes the youngest PGA Tour winner since 1931, and we know exactly how that kind of kick-started the career for Spieth. Joining me now, Kyle Porter from the Content Cabinet. And Kyle, of course, 9 years ago, that shot kind of jump-started Spieth to what he is now. How can this tournament kind of do the same for others this week?
Yeah, you know, there's a lot of up for grabs this week at the John Deere Classic. You've got, obviously, the tournament itself. Winning that would be a big deal. And there's a lot of guys in this field who are kind of in that position where they haven't won before on the PGA Tour. Maybe not as a 19-year-old, but there's a lot of guys who have an opportunity in kind of a lesser field to go out and win this golf tournament. But also, you know, this shot, by the way, I think he got a little too much ball there. I don't know if that's what he was intending to do. But there's also Open Championship spots available, Brandon. We showed that graphic off the top where there's a multiple Open Championship spots up for grabs for guys that haven't already qualified. And you've got guys like Jason Day and players like that, big names who have not yet qualified for the Open Championship, and 3 of them will be headed to St. Andrews here in a couple weeks to play the last major of the year, depending on how they finish this week at the John Deere Classic.
When you talk about Spieth, of course, how this kind of kicked things in gear from in 2013, who has a chance to be the next Jordan Spieth this week for you? The big picture here from this field.
Yeah, he's not the same age, so he's not 19 years old and kind of this wonderkin coming up, but Nick Hardy is a player who went to Illinois. This tournament obviously is in Illinois, and he's a player that has been playing really good golf. You know, he finished T14 at the U.S. Open a couple weeks ago. He finished in the top 10 last week at the Travelers Championship. And so again, it's not the same story because there's a difference between being 19 and Nick Hardy, I believe, is 25. But he's still a young guy, and he's still somebody that it would be a cool story because he's, went to school there, and it's a place where obviously he knows really well. And then Chris Gotterup is the Haskins Award winner. That's the Heisman of college golf. He transferred to OU, won the Haskins Award, won the Big 12 Player of the Year. He, again, is somebody that's just come out of college. So there is not the 19-year-old aspect, but those are 2 young guys that I'm looking at, Nick Hardy and Chris Gotterup, that have an opportunity to sort of establish themselves by winning this golf tournament, by getting themselves into the Open Championship here in a few weeks.
We called this yesterday the Steve Stricker Invitational there, jokingly, of course, getting it done decades ago. Then outside of that, of course, Lucas Glover looking to defend his title. But outside of those 2 names, who are your early favorites this week?
Yeah, you know, Webb Simpson is a guy that I've had my eye on a lot over the last couple weeks. He's been playing really good golf, played really well at the Travelers Championship last week at TPC River Highlands. And then again, Nick Hardy is a name that has popped up quite a bit over the last couple weeks with how he's played at the U.S. Open and the Travelers Championship. And then Cam Davis is another guy that I've really been looking at. You know, he's somebody who he's not really a household name. He kind of popped up at this time last year at the Rocket Mortgage Classic where he played really well. But he's somebody that is one of the better talents in this field. This field's kind of devoid of a ton of talent. There's not a lot of big kind of talented players playing at the top of their games, but Cam Davis is playing really good golf. He's an Australian, just massive off the tee, and he's been hitting his irons really well. So he's somebody, him and Webb and Nick Hardy, to me, are the guys that I'm really looking at this week to have good weeks.
It seems like it's always a Cam, whether it's young or another Cameron champion, it's always a Cam in the mix when it comes to each week of the PGA Tour. All right, outside of that, of course, tell us what we expect from the Irish Open. What are you looking at there?
Yeah, the Irish Open is going to be interesting. You've got 3 events this weekend, Brandon, where it's you've got the John Deere Classic, you've got the Irish Open, and then obviously you've got the Live event in Portland, which will kind of be up against each other. And it's going to be interesting to see, for the first time, those are kind of just to see how they'll all play out together. But this is a really good field. You've got Shane Lowry and Seamus Power. Both have been playing really good golf. I think Shane Lowry, honestly, has been maybe the most underrated player of this entire year. He hasn't won yet, and Seamus Power might be the hottest player of the year. He's been playing really good golf over the last several weeks. I picked him to win the Travelers Championship last week. He got kind of inside that top 10 on the weekend, but faded late and finished well back of Xander Schauffele when he won the Travelers Championship. But those guys will be super interesting to follow, especially ahead of the Open Championship. I think Shane Lowry has a real opportunity to follow up his 2019 Open at Royal Portrush with another one at St. Andrews. So it'll be interesting to see if he can keep that momentum that he's built throughout the year and continue to ball strike the heck out of it, which is what he's been doing since January.
All right, plenty to watch here. Before we get to St. Andrews, Kyle Porter is always laying it out. Appreciate your time, my friend. Don't forget you can catch the guys in the First Cut Pod, breaking it down, joining there with Rick Gaiman and Greg Ducharme to preview the 2022 John Deere Classic on what can happen. Can Lucas Glover defend his title and also give you that DFS perspective? Download and follow.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.